listeners, I see Michael already smiling. He anticipates what I will say. My good friend.
And I put my head on a block, and I offer Mr. Brother Bishop the scalpel to cut it off.
The political leader has said several times up to last night that is not a reflection of her personal views or the views of the party. And you understand, George, how elections at the party level work.
So, Dr. Pate, do you have ties? Do you have ties to the National Democratic Congress, Dr. Pate? Or rather, were you commissioned by the NDC to do
use
this
that
poll?
information because it seems interesting that a lot of your advice is very consistent with what was said. Brilliant.
Brother, good luck with everything.
You too, man.
May the best candidate win in the town of St. George.
But kill on.
Yes.
You is a tongue man too, so stop at that. Tell everybody you are a tongue man too.
We are a people who have always aspired for more. We've always aspired to do better. We've always accepted that not because your mother didn't go to secondary school, you should go. It has always been the other way around. You should aspire.
You've been there for a long time. Want to be queen of St. Andrews, but yet the problems around you you're not seeing. You can pray yourself out of the problems in St. Andrews.
Some persons were getting pension after 2 terms in office, right? And the persons that worked for 26 years plus not getting anything. It's just unfair.
God is good, and God looks after me. You know, not just my wife is no longer here, so both herself and the father up there are looking after me very, very well indeed.
Not a few people that you pick up by the side of the road to run in an election. These are not people that you mustered up and you pulled together a few months before you think an election is going to call, and you say we want to win an election, so let's come together.
I think I was muted all along, folks. I was muted all along. Okay, so let me start over again. Good morning again. I was muted all along there, but good morning to all of you. As I was saying before realizing that I was actually muted, that I want to welcome all of you to this week's edition of the Bub Report, and thank you for joining us. I was making the point earlier that we on the Bub Report, we tend to deal with a lot of heavy stuff every week, whether it's constitutional reform issues, whether it's budget, whether it's, of course, we had that big interview with Jonathan Lecret. We deal with a lot of heavy stuff every week here on the platform. This week, However, it will not be that type of show. This week, it's more of a cultural show. It's more of a calypso, soca, and producer show. In the lead up to Grenada's Carnival, we have a veteran joining us today, and we're happy that he can do that. But I was making the point that we're also following what is happening up there in Cloget, St. John, with that road slippage. And next week, we hope to bring you some extensive reporting on that issue because we have been in touch with the Chief Technical Officer in the ministry who is currently traveling, as well as with some road engineers, because, of course, that is looking like another Molyneux type of situation there in Cloget. And, of course, Cloget is a critical road artery in western and central Grenada that connects St. John's and connects that part of the island, the northwestern part of Grenada, in essence, the northern part of Grenada, with the northeastern and the eastern part, eastern central parts of Grenada. So if that road goes down, that's going to have significant implications for not only the residents in the area, but of course for the farmers, because of course, as you know, that Cloget area, there's a lot of farms in that area. So all of that will have significant impacts and implications. So we will be following that story next week. But of course, this week, what we want to do before we get to our first guest this week is to pay tribute to the late, great Morgan Gabriel, the dearly departed Morgan Gabriel, who had a homegoing service in Brooklyn yesterday. Of course, Morgan, who hails originally from the parish of St. David and the community of Pedmotar, he died suddenly and unexpectedly 2 weeks ago. And of course, his death sent shockwaves through the Grenadian community in Brooklyn. Of course, he was a member of his community board. He was a member of his block association. He was also a member of the NDC New York chapter support group, I believe. And he was also very active in his community. He was an avid family man. And it was also good to see so many of you Grenadians there yesterday, both at the service at St. Matthew's Cathedral, as well as at the repast that was held in Brooklyn. So we want to take this time to extend our own condolences here on the Bub Report to the family of Morgan Gabriel again. And we thank him for his service to the national community in Grenada, both in the diaspora as well as in Grenada. He's done a lot for his community. And of course, to the Gabriel family, to Auntie Rita Gabriel and others, we extend our deepest condolences to his wife, his kids, and everybody. Of course, Morgan will be laid to rest in his home village of Pedmotar later this month. And of course, I want to also take this time to acknowledge and shout out all the folks who I had the opportunity to meet and greet in Brooklyn yesterday. It is not often that I get to go to Brooklyn, but this is an occasion when I really needed to make that trip, because I knew Morgan personally as well, and he was always ensuring that I was well taken care of in any of Auntie Rita's events that she had. So Morgan, may you rest in peace, and may your memory be a blessing. And thank you so much for your service and your contribution to the national community in Grenada. So folks, stand by. We will be back for the first segment of the program. Please stand by for that.
Should your loved ones pass on, they deserve to be treated with dignity. And at S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, we can provide you with that service. We can take you every step of the way during your sorrowful moments. When that need arises, call S.A. Johnson Funeral Home at 347-777-9797. That's 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home is a Caribbean family-owned funeral home here in Brooklyn, providing funeral services, but in a dignified way. From cremation to burial to the repatriation of your loved ones, you don't have to go through the hassle, as we provide exceptional service that allows you to mourn and heal peacefully. For more information, visit our website, www.sajohnsonfuneral.org. Send us an email at sajfuneral@aol.com or call 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, because you deserve to be treated with dignity.
Hello and welcome to the July 13th edition of the Bub Reports. I am in 2025, Elimus Hitman Inspector Gilbert is celebrating 40 magnificent years of calypso and soca excellence. Gilbert burst onto the music scene in 1985 at the tender age of 14. In his first year of competition, the veteran made history by winning both the junior and national Calypso Monarch titles, respectively. In 1985, he defended his junior Monarch and placed third in that year. Specky still maintains the distinction of being the only teenager to ever compete on the Dematchgrass stage. Gilbert will go on to win several national competitions in the 90s. In the last 40 years, Specky developed the distinctive reputation of producing hits after hits after hits and soon became known as the Hitman for his prolific, timeless, and melodic soca and calypso renditions. The entertainer has and continues to wow Grenadian and Caribbean audiences with his unique style of music. As Specky celebrates 40 with his upcoming Specky 40 concert on Sunday, August 3rd at Progress Park, our host, Dr. Kellon Bub, sits with the entertainer to reminisce on his 40-year journey through the soul of Grenadian music. This is the Bub Report. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. We will be right back after this.
And folks, that was our intro to our first guest this week. We're happy to be joined by the veteran. Well, I mean, when I knew him as a kid growing up, he was not called a veteran. He was called Hitman back then. Specky, welcome to the Bub Report, brother, and congratulations on 40 years. That's a big deal.
Yes, man. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be on the Bub Report. I'm in such a powerful program. And to all your viewers, thank you very much for joining. And yeah, man, 40, big deal.
Big deal, 40. I mean, yesterday in Brooklyn, I was reminiscing with one of my classmates and I was saying, bro, life is so short. I was like, just the other day we were in high school sitting on the same school bench. But now look at us, almost 50. Talk to us about when you think about time and when you think about your contribution. In that sense, do you think about it that way?
Sometimes I reflect and I always think about when I started to know. I always thought about the love the majority of Grenadians showed me. And as I said before on other programs, you have artists that knock on the doors for 10, 15 years, sometimes 5 years, and never get through. Or get through after 15 years or 10 years or after 5 years. The very first time the nation heard about Elimus Gilbert in 1985, I won the Junior Monarch and Road Match. Too young to take part in the senior. In 1986, I took part in the senior and I came third among the senior. And that again was something to always reflect about. I mean, Smokey came first, Ajamo second, and the youngest one in the competition came third. I beat the majority of the big artists or older men. So I always reflect on it, and Kellon always say that my talent was something else. When I say that, I do it from my heart. I do it because I love it. I do it so long because I love it, and it was different in that I get crowd response from the time I start up to today.
Now, Specky, your journey with the music actually started in high school. Now, one of your contemporaries, Raymond Matthew Beast, there is a story that, he played the piano so much in Shaper School that he broke it. Talk to us about... He got in trouble with Brother George for that, I think. But talk to us about how you developed that interest in music. I understand that you used to beat table as well in SAS. Talk to us about that early interest in music.
Yes, I used to always beat the table in class, and sometimes they send me outside. Sometimes they put you to stand up in the back of the class. I remember I used to go to the St. Patrick's REC Church, and while Father Levy, you must heard about Father Levy. He was a
Father
popular,
Oliver Levy, yes,
right?
Youth Quake.
Father
He's one of the
Levy,
founders of Youth Quake, yeah.
Father Levy, speaking, stamping my foot and a knocking, and singing, and who close to me will tell me, shut up and pay attention. So it's something I always had in me as a little boy. I will share a few stories that growing up in Sotes, me and my brothers and sisters sleeping in a one bedroom, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 of us on the bed on the floor sharing it. And I will get up at midnight and listen to Trinidad the Marshgra. Listen to guys like Penguin and them. I mean, I never knew them, never see them in life, but always opening the radio and listening. When Darky and Taylor, African Taylor, and them coming to perform in Sotes at the St. Patrick's REC School. Little boy in Sotes, no money. I will pass in the hole because I'm from the area, so I know all the entrance to get in free. And pass in the hole to get in early and sit down and listen to Taylor and them to learn something. Same
Right.
story I gave when I was in Form 1 in SAS. I heard that Black Weasel and African Taylor was coming to perform. And the $1 I had for break, I save it to pay to go and see them to learn something. And I used to travel with a bus by the month. Alan Packer, my mother used to pay the bus every month. Poor people children used to do it back in the days.
Yeah.
And after the show, I reached back Grenville after 6. And bus gone, no money to pay other buses, and I walk from Grenville to Sotes. So I always have an interest, I always have a love. And we used to have a thing called Children Melee. Today they might call it bashment. You go to a little club in the area from about 4, and when 8 o'clock you have to go home. From 8 to 12 it's big people time. And I will go and whine in the middle of the dance hall like a woman, or worse than a woman. When reggae come and I go and sit down because I can't dance reggae, but I will wind down to soca. So it's something I always love. And they say anything you're doing in life, you have to love it. You have to have a passion for it. Always. So when I meet Gypsy and Sparrow and them later on in life, and I tell them like what outfit they had on when they sing certain songs, they'll watch me in a certain way, like this boy was paying attention. And all some of the great performance I put down at the Queen's Park with the hopping on one foot, the hand behind me head, whining and stopping the band and singing a cappella and coming back and sending the crowd crazy. I learned a lot of that from the Mighty Sparrow. Yeah, so I always have an interest.
And before you actually stepped on the scene as well, you were actually a background performer, right? Tell us about that.
I used to do presentation with Lady Cinti. Yeah, when Flying Turkey won the crown in 1984 in Queen's Park with Byron, Cinti defended because she was the calypso queen in 1983. And she defended in 84 and I performed on stage with her. So I had an idea what the Queen's Park crowd look like before I really touched that stage to feel them by performing. Yes, I used to perform with Lady Cinti. Who don't know Lady Cinti? That's the mother of Looney Spark and Electrify. First female monarch in Grenada. Yes, I used to be on stage with her.
Right, and the reason why I'm framing this way as we get further into the conversation is because I really want to make the point that a lot of our artists actually, before they actually got into the music and so, they had some kind of learning, they had some kind of grounding. And what I hear you saying here is that your grounding was, listening to the Marshgra in Trinidad. Your grounding was doing the music in SAS. Your grounding was looking at what was happening in your community. Your grounding was doing background performances and all of that. And that was all before 1985.
All before 1985. And if you spoke to Boise now, Boise will tell you he was on stage with me in 2001 or 2002 around there when I sang in my land. In my land, when we jump and we became second with that in Soca Monarch. Boise was on stage performing with me. I had different aspects on stage. I had the bamboo, I had the kite, I had different aspects of we call it here in Grenada, and Electrify was on the pan. Looney Spark and Electrify who doing good right now. One of the brothers was on stage with me in the 2000 doing presentation. So a lot of artists will tell you that there's somebody they look up to. And there is like if you listen like Jab King used to be on stage with Lava Man. So he's a train. He's a sucker.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
understand?
So when you came out in 1985, I mean, I'm not going to give away my age here. I mean, I honestly was a baby at the time, but I'm sure my parents remember that era. I mean, you won junior, then you got into senior. I mean, how did that happen?
I won the junior Monarch. I had a
Yeah.
song called Grenadians Use Your Head. And then I won the road match with Dance in the Country. Dance in the country, dance in the city. I won the road match. And in 1985, I was too young for the senior competition. So CDC then told me, the Carnival Development Committee. So 1986, I think I had the age. And I defended junior again, won it. I won a road match again with one of my biggest road match ever, No Kicks for 86. And I also was my first time in the March Gras. And I came third. The only two artists that beat me was Smokey, Defend and won again, and a Jamo second. I came third in the March Gras. And that was great to me. And I will tell you something, Mr. Bob. I bring a vibes into the March Gras that other artists did not. Because you know the March Gras, a lot of the artists come with the social commentary. Because a lot of people think cursing the government is lyrics. A lot of artists used to believe that. If you don't curse the government, you don't have lyrics, and that is not true. You could have songs that develop the nation, and still
I mean, right, and then you had conscious social commentary. I mean, I think of your tracks like "We Go in the Wrong Way," right?
Yes, and
that was one of my favorite tracks, and that was a serious social commentary. Go ahead.
And people used to party to my commentary, like if they jumping up to a power in the soca. We go in the wrong way. If you look at the clip, the whole crowd
chanting. Don't you understand?
Even though when I had a little more education, crowd chanting and singing. You know, so I always had that vibes. I bring a difference into the March Gras. I bring Soca Monarch into the March Gras before we had Soca Monarch. Many times I'm performing. Sometimes the crowd don't even hear what I'm singing and they singing and dance. I mean, they don't even hear what I'm saying, sorry. Sometimes they don't even hear what I'm saying. It's only noise. So something about me that I was a crowd pleaser from the time I started performing. I was always a crowd pleaser. And I always appreciate that. I told some of my friends, I know I sing certain songs and escape already. I know if it's other artists, they don't get in through. So I'm saying all that to say that I appreciate the love and the support I get from the majority of Grenadians. I have to say the majority because, in life, not everybody go support you. Not everybody go like you. But I appreciate it. And Bob, I had a wonderful career. I had more good times.
Yeah, so I agree with that. But I want to sort of break down your soca and calypso career into three eras. So you had that the 80s period, and then you had the 90s. I personally call the 90s the glorious 90s because I mean the March Gras from that, at least when I remember, from 1992 to 1997, and that was before they introduced Soca Monarch. I think it went a different direction when they introduced Soca Monarch in 97, I believe, when Randy Isaac won. I believe the first
96.
96. There you go. The producers who worked with you, because I mean, some of your songs, I mean, from the 80s. Let's start there. Let's start with No Kicks for 86, right? Which you remix with No Kicks for 96.
Yes.
Right. Let's start there. Let's talk about that era in your music in the 80s. Who helped you to produce some of the songs? What were some of the things happening that inspired some of the music from the 80s?
The great music, yes. Well, when I first started in 1985, was a band in Sotes. We had people like Chris Brown and Dick Brown and them guys. So it was a band that you just go in the band room, you sing, they listen, and they arrange it in the band room. Same thing in 1986. We had a band, Magnificent Six. Mr. Chessy, may God may he rest in peace now. And after that, I migrate and I meet the great Frankie McIntosh. Yeah, and Frankie McIntosh took it from baseline, the baseline causing the whistle wine, and the Hurricane and the Sweet Home and the Eating Better and the Big Up was the great Frankie McIntosh. After Frankie McIntosh, I met Leston Paul, the genius from Trinidad and Tobago, and he did the Madness, you know. Then I met Ozzy Gurley from St. Vincent, who based in Canada. He did the power in the soca. I work with people in Trinidad, from Trinidad, like I'm shell shock. So I always move to different arrangers so you could get different sound. And people always ask the question, boy, Specky, them classical music you get over the years, what happened now? And I always tell them that music change. You see them arrangers I call younger artists today, not going to them. Because right now it's more rhythm.
Right.
When I came into the business with the serious about melody and lyrics and storytelling, all that changed today. So you cannot compare today music to the 80s. You could say the 80s was the classic music, classical music, serious classic. The classic remain the classic. Today is more beat, more rhythm. You understand? Yeah, years ago they played music, they played live music. Today they build beats.
Right. Yeah. And in fact, we actually have a segment on that coming up after you. You're right. But go ahead. Yes.
Years ago, you go to a professional studio. I used to go to Charlie's studio on Fulton Street. I'm in Brooklyn at the moment. And anytime I drive at that area and I look at the building, I reflect. You understand? You go to a professional studio. Today, you just go in a man's house and he tell them children, hush all your mouth and go in the room. And he have a mic by a laptop and he just tell you sing.
Yeah.
So it changed. Comparing years ago to now, different. When I was growing up, we had one radio station in Grenada. Today we have about 15. You know, time change. And I go make a point again. I'm the only senior artist. Only artist from my era that still get work with the younger guys in the fets. If you look at the majority of the carnival fets, Inspector Day. Because I moved to the time. A lot of them criticize me and say, oh, I want to follow, but no. I move to time. I move with the time. I write rhythms. I do things, so I always get work. I was in England recently. They booked me for next year already because I moved to the time. I have songs to entertain old. I have songs to entertain young. Go ahead.
Right. No, that's fine. Now, let's get into the 90s. Now, one of the, I tell you this, one of your most epic, well, of course, you had no place sweeter than home. That was good. But that spaceship performance, Captain Wait for Inspector, I still remember. I still get chills when I hear the sound of that spacecraft and the countdown that went with that, and you coming out with that astronaut suit with that Grenada flag. Take us back to that Dimash Gras Inspector. That was probably that was what, in 94?
94. Yeah, why you paying
94,
attention?
that was when we said, yeah, man.
You're paying attention. Well,
that year was also a year of props, by the way. You had Wizard with the horse as well, and Banfield when he did soca aerobics. But go ahead, take us back to that Dimash Gras stage on that day.
Because I won the Calypso Monarch in 1993. Something I learned that anytime you're defending, you have to be brilliant. You could lose, but you have to be brilliant when you're defending. And people have to come to beat you.
Yeah.
People have to come to beat you because you have the opportunity to plan everything early. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson. If you go to my house in Sotes, as you enter, a big poster of Michael Jackson. And I was looking at a performance with Michael Jackson where he did the ending of his performance where he fly over the crowd, whether it's he that was there or not, but that blew my mind. And I decide I want to do something like that. But to do something like that, I have to write a song to suit the presentation. Right? And that's a lot of artists' weak point. When they write a song and they come with a presentation, if you're singing about a bus, the presentation has to show the bus. If you're singing about a boat, the presentation has to show the boat. And a lot of artists don't do that and they lose points. Anyway, and then I wrote, first line came up, the government bring a contract to send me in space.
Send me in space. Yeah, go and represent Grenada over soca all the way. Soca all the way.
Like you that compose it, man.
I am a believer. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I think I lost Specky there. Oh, we lost Specky there. All right, folks, I guess I got too excited there. But let's get to some comments while we try to get him back. We want to hear from you folks. You know, let's see here. Anthony DeRiggs, good morning, brother. You saying, I would always remember the radio station WLIB promoting your music here in New York. Your music reached many in the Caribbean community. Congratulations on making 40 years in the soca arena. Then we have Mamie here who's saying, good morning, Mamie. I believe you're here in Maryland. Good morning to you. You're saying Inspector is one of the calypso who you can talk, can walk to great and never push you away. Elimus is a very unusual name. Somebody's asking who you were named after. But Specky, we have you back there. I guess I got too excited. We can hear you now. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Yeah. Are you there? We can hear you, Specky. We can see you.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah, you know, no, go ahead.
When you're getting calls, you know, sorry for that. Like that person.
Yeah. I hope my singing didn't run your way.
No. Yes, and then I plan all them stuff. And something I want to make clear on your program, all them songs there, I wrote it, you know. All them classics. I wrote all them songs there, and I planned my presentation. The shoes, I remember going to Bobby's was around winter time. I go to Bobby's and get that same shoes, and that shoes is a female shoes, you know. Because they didn't have no shoes like that for man. So that's a female shoes people don't know. Then when I look at the space clothes with other, you know, with other people wearing the space clothes, they had the American flag. I cannot go on in the March Gras in Grenada with an American flag on my suit. If I sing in the government send me to represent Grenada, I must have the Grenada flag. I get the small flag, I sew it. And you know, all them presentation, all them thing, I plan it and I do it. And I went home with all my effect. Cracker was my producer at the time. I tell him this is what I want him to bring down, all the effect, everything. All the come down Trevor Friday, may God rest his soul.
Rest his soul, yeah.
And, you know, I plan all them stuff, and I'm very good on presentation. I plan all them things. As I told you, when you're making a comeback, you have to be a brilliant comeback. And that was a big presentation too, from 93 to 94.
Yeah,
but,
no.
When
Go ahead.
When I reflect on it, I've been honest with you, a lot of people caused that year and felt they robbed me, but Weezer was very powerful in the first rounds, Massa. And
that Massa song, yeah.
Yes, as Jamo said on the road against Specky get knocked out in the first rounds, because I did No Place Sweeter Than Home, and I had a next song called Never Say Never. I wrote it for the competition, but because Sweet Home was so powerful, people forced me to do it. I think that's where I lost. Although Sweet Home was good, but you know how judges are. Judges will get persuaded by crowd response so much. They go by the criteria. So Massa was so powerful that Weezer outshined me in that first rounds with the lyrics. I could be honest to say that today.
No, that was a very powerful, you know, social commentary, you know, with the horse and everything that he was saying, you know, and you know, Weezer with the international commentary and stuff, you know, that was a big part of what he did. That was a very competitive year, you know. That was that was actually a very, very competitive year, that 94 season. But let us talk about Specky. Then you had in 1992 you had Out of Control.
Yeah,
that was another one of my favorites as well from 1992. Yeah, man, I love Out of Control. And then of course you had another one that from the 90s that I remember fondly. It's outside of Captain Wait For Me, there was another one you did in the 90s, man. That I think. Oh, the hurricane one. What was the I wanted them earlier coming like a hurricane.
Well, let me give you
1990, right?
93.
93. Okay.
Yeah, that was my second crown. Yeah, that was my second crown. And let me give you the story behind that.
Yeah.
89, I won the crown for the first time. The national crown. I beat Ajamo. Ajamo came back in 90. He won. Ajamo won again in 91. Ajamo won again in 92. And that 3 years, I came fifth. And I was like, no. Anytime a car ain't going up a hill, you must pack it up and check it out.
Yeah.
And I will repeat that. Anytime you have a car, any vehicle you have, and you're not going up the hill, you must pack up that vehicle and check out what is the problem. And that same year in 92, I used to be around Jumbie Carl and the Troy Garvey and Morgan and Tahiti, and all of us used to be in Miami Carnival. And he had hurricane in Miami. a couple months before, and I see everybody have jerseys marked "I survived Hurricane Andrew," and I'm a guy a quick. I just observe and I just pick up a quick on that. And when I saw that, I said to Troy, Troy, everybody at Jersey mark Hurricane. I survived Hurricane Andrew. I say, remember Gilbert passing Jamaica a couple of years ago? And my last name is Gilbert. What do you think about that? Troy said, yeah, man, yeah, good idea. He brushed me off quick because I guess he was holding a conversation with Morgan and them. I came back to Brooklyn, and because I came fifth 3 times in a row, 3 times back to back, I didn't like that. I said, no, I win already, I could do it again. And I put pen and paper together. And the rest was history.
Yeah, no, these are good memories, man. It just brings back memories for me as well, because a lot of your music, brother, informed my childhood in Grenada. And I'm sure it informed a lot of people's childhood. I will tell you a song that, and there was an incident that happened, because I'm originally from Pomrose. Story time now. So in about 1991, 1992, there was this story about a man in Pomrose who allegedly invoked a dead woman. I don't want to implicate the families now, because apparently, fun fact, true story, the gentleman who was part of the invocation is actually a cousin of mine. So that in 1992, there was this fear of this invoked dead woman walking the streets of Pomrose, walking the streets of St. David, so much so that, and in fact, I live opposite that cemetery in the back road in Pomrose, for the folks who are watching who know where the back road is and who know that the family cemetery there. But, and they had to bring in Bishop John Noel and all of them, captain to say they go, put the lady back and all kind of thing. But that song that you did, Spirit in the Cemetery, it was not related to that incident. Apparently, it was related to another incident in St. Patrick's. And that song, I tell you, that song has a particular energy to it that I really like. Talk to us about that song. Was it related to that incident that allegedly happened at Marley Cemetery in Specky?
Yes. I was in Brooklyn at the time and I heard about it.
Yeah.
And I will tell you something about me. When I hear something and I find, well, I could put pen and paper together, I say, let me see if I could make that work. And then I heard that the spirit in the arena and people going inside 6 o'clock and John will come and put everything to rest and all kind of things. I just put pen and paper together. The spirit in the cemetery and the spirit in the whole parish was in a comments. And John will come and he put it to rest. And after that, after I released that song, when I was home for Carnival in 97, me and same Mr. John will bounce up. And I don't look at the man in the face and I was so scared. Because you know him. You know what he looks like.
I know Captain, man. I know Captain, yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just put it together. But let me make something. Your program is a program. You let us be real and I look at it all the time. And you just ask hitting question. Yeah. Yes. When I say that, the biting question. And I will tell you something, but this is my opinion. Personally, I don't believe in them stuff, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in this stuff. And let me tell you something.
I don't.
I'm not saying it don't have bad. I'm not saying it don't have bad. But I know an incident with somebody in Grenada who used to help everybody with the problem. And they thief the person goat and the person couldn't help themselves, they go to the police station. So I personally think them thing is a money making thing. People, I will just change the topic a little. People in Brooklyn.
Go ahead.
People in Brooklyn just turn the apartment into church and pay people to preach for them just to collect money. So a lot of them things there is money making thing. I personally, how come the Obia man don't know the winning lotto number? And that's something everybody wants.
Or how come Obia did not free us from slavery for all of these years that we were enslaved as Africans?
Yes, a lot of them things I've been honest with you, but I know that's a different conversation. But I know a lot of people who believe in them stuff. But I'm telling you, I'm not saying it maybe you don't have bad. But the way people take this thing and spend all their money on this thing and don't even trying to help themselves and giving these people all this money. Then you go into the Obia man for help. Somebody thief the Obia man goods. And he don't know who thief he good, but he know all your problems. I don't believe in them thing. But let us talk about the Specky 40.
Yeah, no, but before we get to Specky 40, I'm glad you raised that because along the same theme of this sort of, I guess if you want to call it high science or whatever it is, you did another song along that theme, and that was Power in the Soca. So did Bishop John inspire that? And I still see myself because, you know, my grand-aunt of blessed memory was a big spiritual Baptist. And in St. David's as well, there was a man, also blessed memory, Mr. Nesbitt. He used to have Baptist revivals in his yard. And I remember going there and, you know, just going there to see with the late grand-aunt of mine, Marjorie Kingston of blessed memory as well. We would go in Pomerose there and watch all of those spiritual Baptist revivals take place. And, you know, that sort of inculcated a particular energy in me that I still enjoy and I still appreciate. So in terms of that spiritual realm. So talk to us about that song. What inspired that song?
My mom died in 1996. And I wanted something to remember my mother. And my mother was a big Baptist. If you listen Power in the Soca in the ending up about Daphne, that's my mother's name. Daphne Gilbert. And I wanted a song to remember my mother. And I started writing a slow song. And by writing it, I started crying. And I did not want that feelings because I had a lot of love for my mother. Sorry. I had a lot of love because she was always mother and father, you know, 13 of us, always mother and father. You know them stories. So, because she was a big Baptist, she used to always get up and throw corn around the house and rice around the house. You know, the Baptists operate. I wanted something to remember her. And I wrote Power in the Soca. And I remember when me and Mr. Keela became friends later on in life, he told me, he says, Specky, I came to your house as a little boy beating drums. Because Mr. Keela's mom is also a big Baptist, Mother Ann. And
that's Mother Ann, yes.
Mother Ann used to come to my mother's house to sing and do their stuff, and I used to just stand up on the side and watch them. And Keela tell me I was the little boy beating the drum, and I was like, wow, I pause. Yeah, so I wrote Power in the Soca to remember my mother. Yeah. So if you go back and you listen it, or anybody who listening now, go back and listen Power in the Soca, but you have to listen the ending up. Power in the Soca, about Daphne. That's my mom, Daphne Gilbert. Yeah,
that's where that came from.
I had a lot of love for my mom, and I also won the Soca Monarch with Power in the Soca in 1997 in Simmons. The whole crowd had a candle, and the place was in dark. And the glory years.
I think you were in a Baptist regalia as well.
No, I get all them stuff there from my mom. All when I dancing and you see the way I just move my foot across and all them things from my mother. My mother was a very good dancer. So all the Baptist chant and all the shaking.
That's where you get those moves from.
Yes, all that come from my mom. And I wrote Power in the Soca just to remember my mother because she was always mother and father. Yeah, she was always mother and father.
Yeah, before we get, and we will certainly get into the 40, but we want to get some audience questions here. You know, May again, as I was saying before, he was talking about. He said, "Where did you get the name Elimus from? Who named you Elimus?"
My mother. And listen, I say, Mommy, I'm the only man in the world that have that name. I hear about Elios. I hear different us. I never hear Elimus. And my brother name is Emmanuel. Right? I'm the last boy, the one before the last. Name is Emmanuel, but I heard Emmanuel before. Even King Shot, I think King Shot right name is Emmanuel something. I heard about Emmanuel before. I never hear nobody name Elimus. And she tell me she get it from one of our cousins who died years ago. But you ever hear about Elimus anyway?
Never heard of Elimus. I've heard of Eliuta.
That's the point. I hear about Elias. I never heard Elimus. And let me mention something to you. I do laugh. When I first went to SAS in Form 1, you know when went high school, they used to call children name every day. Every day they open the diary and they call your name. Every time the teacher say Elimus, the whole class laughing. Because it was funny. And never did, but then I guess that was something special to me. I guess that was something special to me because I had a lot of love. And I say it again, I had a lot of love for my mother because I see how she struggled with all of us. And she was always more than father. I don't even too sure who is my father, to be honest with you. She was always more than father. Let me share a story quick. Once I was performing at St. Paul's Community Center, and the people in St. Paul start fighting. And when they start fighting and we're going back up to Sotters on the bus, because I was the baby in the tent, man, Tis and Cynthia, and them used to raise me. My mom say, I'm not coming behind you anymore, because the people fighting too much. And I was happy that my mom said she's not coming anymore in the Calypso tent to see me. Because when my mom there, I cannot whine. And I want to whine. I want to whine, but once my mom in the crowd sit down, I cannot whine. So when she say she don't coming back in the Calypso tent because the people fight too much, I was happy. I never tell her I was happy, but I was happy because when my mom in there, I could whine. Once she there, I cannot whine because you know how we grow up. Because the respect we have for our parents.
Yeah, that respect for authority, absolutely. Ernesto is asking, I would like to know which parts of the blind fortune teller play in Specky growing up or starting up on the big stage. I'm not too sure what he's referring to. You know blind fortune teller?
Yes, that's my neighbor in Sotters. Before the big stage, we used to be beating old pan on the Anglican school step in Sotters. Netball was a big game in Sotters, was a big sport. People love netball in St. Patrick's. And then after netball, nothing to do. Everybody get around gossiping, cussing, who win, who lose, who should win, who should win. You know how the thing go. And then nothing to do. So we use that crowd to entertain them. So we used to take old pan, put plastic over the old pan, put rubber around it. We make drums, we make float from the bottle. We do different things and we enter. Just sing any song, Sparrow, anybody, song that popular. And Blind Fortune Teller used to be on the traps. You know Fortune Teller. Fortune Teller, I wrote a song for him in around the 2000 when Grandpa old, but he don't call. Grandpa old,
I remember that.
Do,
yeah, I remember
Grandpa
that.
could do it too. Anyway, that's Blind Fortune Teller. So that's my neighbor in Sotters, and Sotters are born and grow. So that's my neighbor, and we grow together by beating old pan and entertaining people. But when I took off in 85, I start flying high, so I go my way.
Right. Pele is saying pum pum shorts. The most topical social commentary ever in his opinion.
I'm glad. Oh, good. Pele know what happening, Pele know what happening because me and Pele walk in the breweries for years. I mean, I didn't used to walk in the breweries, but on the road show. I'm glad he touched that topic. Let me tell you, audience, something.
Yes. Yeah.
I won the crown in 1993. I scored the lowest in Simmons. Almost did not make the finals. I was so mad. I go and say I'm not taking part because I scored low and I was vexed. But the first song was very weak. I sang a different song. People pressure me to do big up. They say, Specky, that's a very good song. And all you're talking about is the ragamuffin in the carnival. You know, as human beings, sometimes we make our head hard.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. The last person that spoke to me was Eggies. Eggies I used to sing, May Soul Rest in Peace.
May Soul Rest in Peace.
Even Pele and all spoke to me. Pele and all spoke to me.
Yeah.
And I did big up in the March Gras. Talking about the ragamuffin in the carnival. And the last verse, I added some new lines. Let us make the world know is we that give them Sparrow. And we had Trini judges and we had Grenada judges. It mixed. Because all them time there was controversy with judges.
Yeah, and then they wanted to bring in the Trini judges to neutralize the thing and all of that. Yeah.
And Mr. Bob, I want your audience to know that big up score more points than Soca Hurricane. When you spoke about Inspector and great performance, people always talk about Soca Hurricane.
Yeah.
I'm repeating it again. Big up, score more points. Although Hurricane was the performance of the night, but the first rounds, big up, score more points than Hurricane. I'm glad Pele asked that question.
Yeah. And then another one, somebody saying one of the most underrated Specky songs is Razor Blade. The beat and the pace is sweet. And of course, the message, the underlying message in that song is so powerful as well. And I think it's a reflection of the hypocrisy of a lot of us in society. We two-faced.
And one of my favorite songs when I sing it, my skin just raise and like I just like to hear how the crowd does that high. Some people is Razor Blade. But that night I came second in Groovy and I still vex, I still feel, as artists we just cuss and say the judges treat us bad.
Yeah.
But when we win, we never say the judges treat us bad.
Never.
You ever hear the Calypso King say they thief him? The Calypso King never complain and say, "Boy, the
Never
judges should have come
complain.
somebody else." It's only when we lose. But Shatner was very good on that night. But I thought I had it. I thought I had it in the bag. Yes, I thought I had it in the bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
we there on that, I just want to make an announcement.
Yeah.
I'm in Brooklyn at the moment. I will be home soon to start to work more on the Specky 40. The vibe's looking very good for now. A lot of texts, a lot of calls. But next year, please God, no death, no sickness. I will making a return. I'm making a return back in the
To the big
competition.
stage.
Back in the competition.
Mhm.
I might focus on Calypso to go in all of them. Yeah, I'm making a return next year. Please God, no death, no sickness. Because let me tell you something. Once I have a good song, and once I have a song, the nation say yes. That's the Specky we know. Them young boys will beating me easy because they still can't perform with me. I'm watching a lot of them, and I telling you, a lot of them still don't know how to perform it. They just use a little hype and the because it's a different era now, and the young people think different and they more focus on the beat. But once I have a song, the nation say yes. I like that Specky, and that's the Specky we know, and we're good to go. Now them ain't beating me easy. I tell you that. Next year, please God, no death, no sickness. I'm making a return.
Yeah. Let's get to some other Vioca, and then we'll go on to talk about the concert here. Somebody is saying this. He said Ronnie Slinger is saying, I heard a musician say Inspector is the hardest singer to arrange for, and I think that's what makes his music so special. Have you heard that? Did you hear that from producers, arrangers
Never.
who said you were hard to arrange for?
Producers always give me credit that I'm always on time. When they tell me go in the booth and sing, I never get trouble. I have to take it 5, 8, 6, 7, 10 times because I know my song. Always in proper key. I always hear good stuff. If you call Nordley, Frederick, all of them will tell you that man don't waste time, even rehearsal too. But maybe if the producer say that he don't like because there is certain songs that will take longer to arrange than some. So if he said it, he say it behind my back. I never heard that before. I know they
Never
always
heard
give me
that.
credit
Okay.
for time and all them things. Once I went to Trinidad to record Soca Train, and Shell Shock, he died now. He told me, go and do a guide track. We normally do a guide track first, and then we do the final take after. After I do the guide track, he said, now we don't need that take again. He said, I saw it happen before. I wouldn't lie for you. I saw it happen before, but a long time I didn't see it. He said, you hit it perfect. Same thing, I went to Barbados to record with Nicholas Branca, the great arranger who do all the hits for Crossfire. When I had the big wave coming, he told me the same thing. So different arrangers go have different experience, but I never heard that before.
Okay, all right. Well, let us get Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer, it was nice meeting you yesterday in Brooklyn as well, sister. She said she remembers you from 1985 when you won the Road March and you came into the Ministry of Labor to see Dr. Francis Alexis. You were very shy then.
Yes, the shy part is true. I was always shy. I used to go on stage, I explode because I love rhythm. I like to feel music. When I drive in Grenada, if you see the box in the back in my trunk, you can't put no load in it. Big. And I give my music volume and I enjoy myself by myself. Sometimes when I have to give people a ride and slow down the music, deep inside I don't feel good, but I don't have a problem because all my life people show me love and they jump for me. So giving somebody a ride is not a problem. The problem is lowering down the music because sometimes them can't take the loud music like me. I like to feel music. When I'm on stage, if I'm not feeling it, I will turn around and watch the band, a Bad Eyes, or even the DJ guy who playing for me, or the monitor. I go say, turn up the monitor. Because let me tell you something. Marshall will tell you that. Right? All them great entertainers will tell you that. When we on stage and we feel that vibes, it make us feel good so we could feel the energy from the crowd. You understand? We have to feel good to make the crowd feel good. And once the crowd feeling good and they make us feel good, everybody feel good. Tell Pele write a calypso on that. That sounds like a calypso. All of us have to feel good. So it's a vibes. It's a vibes. When you're up there and monitor to walk in and this speaker box break down, and then across a band in Montreal once up to today, they don't want to hear my name. In the rehearsal, I told the drummer, I say, when I'm singing, look at me. I like to turn around like James Brown and them and watch the band and direct you, especially if Eating Better coming in. Bam, 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 bam. I want to hear that. I want to feel that. Don't worry, man. They just a rehearsal and they close the eyes and they playing. You know, he come in the final show and do the same thing.
Oh, wow.
And if you spoke to the
Yeah.
great Marshall Montano, he will tell you when coming to rehearsal and them stuff, they're very ignorant. Because at the end of the day, Mr. Bob, is a business. When I mash up a show and promoters hear that, they call my phone, to give me work. Boy, Specky was good last night, boy. Oh God, that man mash up that place. That band was good. All of us get work. That's how business is. When I met you on the plane recently, you tell me you're celebrating 5 years.
Yeah,
Why
for the
you
Bob
think
report.
I asking your question now? Why you think you're still around? Answer me.
I'm disciplined, I'm consistent. For me, it's about consistency, right?
And you're good.
It's about always trying to do the next best thing.
And you're good at what you do. So
Yeah.
don't afraid to say it.
Yeah.
You're good at what you do. So that's the point.
I'm a humble guy. Yeah.
Right. That I humble too. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Once we put out something good out there, that's when people call your number. That's when you get work. And at the end of the day, it's a business. I never had a job in Grenada. I never had a 8 to 4 in Grenada. I never had a 9 to. The only place I work in my life is in Brooklyn. Because you have to work.
Yeah.
Never my job in Grenada all my life was singing. Music feed me. So you have to take it serious.
Yeah.
I went through 3 decades, 3 different generations. The older people call me to do a performance, I have song to feed the crowd. The younger people call me, I have songs to feed the crowd.
Yeah. Somebody saying, please tell him to sing calypso. Chris Hutchinson is saying, please tell him to sing calypso.
Yeah, Chris, like he always, in every comment he put that, he always like everything. But, and to be honest with you, it's not like before, the March and everything, not like before, everything changed up. That's a different topic.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yes, and not only in Grenada. I think the only country that's surviving in calypso today is Dominica. Dominica Calypso show, the Marshall is like Soca Monarch, big. That's the only Trinidad suffer too. Is as Marshall went back last year, they go up with the numbers, and so it's not only Grenada. It's not like before. If you look at a Marshall from the 80s and you look at Marshall today you had 300 people in the stadium. Years ago we had 8,000+ people. So and them time they didn't have Soca Monarch too. So it's different.
And that's the thing. And I think when that whole Soca Monarch was introduced in Grenada post, I think that was in 97, right? Or 96 when Soca Monarch was introduced for the first time.
It started in 93 at Sugar Mill, but the Calypso Association took it over in 94.
94,
okay. Yeah, and we said won in 94, Ajamo won in 95, Randy won in 96, and Inspector won in 97.
Yeah, so the dynamic kind of changed.
Yes. And again, what's sad about it, young people do go to the Masgra. Even though you might have 1 or 2 young people singing Calypso, young people don't go to the Masgra. The thing is, the jump up, the Soca Monarch, well, where the job take over, they know is worse. Worse. You understand? So that's a problem right there. Young people don't go to the Masgra.
Yeah.
They find that too dead. They find that too dead for them. They will say that old people show.
Yeah.
Now we have to
but you're right. No, you're right. You're right. And the audience tends to skew more mature. And I think the reason why you had a more diverse group of people generationally in the Masgra shows back in the 90s and in the 80s is because there was no Soca Monarch. So you had, and that was the point of the second round. The second round was much more the Soca round, right? So so that's why you had a lot of young people went to the Masgra, like Miss Penelope here, probably she went to the Masgra for that second round too,
Yes.
But let's get to one final comment and then we'll get to the show, your big anniversary show, which I'll be attending, by the way. But Ivy Furlong is saying, I can tell you Specky is easy to work with. I remember my husband DJ Roots putting on a show in Canada, bringing 5 kings from Grenada. He worked with us, never greedy. Congratulations on 40 years.
Yes, I remember DJ Roots, and that is true. That is true, and promoters will tell you that about me. Yeah, they will tell you that about yesterday I was selling a promoter, I say, but when I hear some of them young boys price, I mean, I was talking to them, the Association for Grenada Day, Toronto. I will be there this year, and I was telling them that I say the money them young boys charging, and to say I did this thing all my life, I easy and all. I was telling them that yesterday, but I do it to a lot of promoters too, because at the end of the day, we all have to work together and putting on a show, Mr. Bob. The aftermath, the expense, the overhead, it's not easy.
It's a lot.
Not easy.
It's a lot.
So sometimes you work with them, although sometimes if they make $1 million and you charge 200, they give you 200 and they don't give you nothing extra. But that's a different topic. Yeah,
Totally
but
different topic.
I had some wonderful time in Canada too. England all my life. England treat me like Michael Jackson. I had to big up England on that.
And they still
Yeah.
do because you
And
were
they still do.
there recently.
Recently, yeah. And they booked
Yeah.
me already. They booked me already for that same date for next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
me and an next artist. Yeah. So as I said earlier in the conversation, I love it. If I didn't love it, I would have stopped already. You know, many times I say to myself, boy, me don't going back in competition, you know, me don't going back there. But we just say that sometime when we don't win, when things will go our way. But what about when we winning and them other artists don't winning? I wonder if they saying the same thing too. So if all of us say the same thing, then the art form will suffer. Not everybody go win. And then when an artist lose, I'm saying that for the artists who looking at it. Sometimes when an artist lose, it's not to say your song do good. It's not to say your song do good. I mean, the judges just see that with the criteria that the other artists beat you by a couple points, but it's not to say your song. For example, when I beat Weezer in 1989 when I sang "Me Neighbor" and We Go in the Wrong Way, IMF and Tellstone was two masterpieces.
Tellstone, that was. Let me
That
tell
was
you,
two
Tellstone was a
masterpieces.
big,
So why you go say Weezer was not
track
good?
that year.
Weezer was very good,
Right.
but the
Yeah,
judges
yeah.
just see that I outshine him by a couple points.
Yeah.
Maybe with the performance, maybe with the you never know. They go by a criteria. So with you
Well,
losing,
they used to say to street people, not me that say street people used to say Wizard couldn't whine, and you could have performed better than him. That's what.
But whining though they on the criteria, and then you know the year you whining win, eh? That the same year I had this.
But that's what I'm saying.
They want me to roll me belly.
Roll your belly. They want you to be a wassy. They want you to jump and whip. And then he brought Bangfield on the stage. Remember that?
Yes. That was the year, but that was the glory years, man. That was the glory years.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
before I forget, although I know we're going into the but before I forget again, I want to say thank you, Grenada. Thank you. Thank you for all those who helped me. Even all those who criticize me because you want me to do better. Thank you, Grenada. I had a wonderful career. If I say different, I go be like, not every year things go the way I want it, but the majority of my career, the majority was good.
Yeah.
As some people will say, I had a good run. I had a good run. And if I say different, I go be a hypocrite and a wicked man, and I'm not. Thank you, Grenada. Always show me that love. I still getting that response like in 1985.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Thank you, Grenada. Thank you. And I'm a man that love my country.
Yeah.
I'm a man that love my
You are
country.
a patriot. Yes. This is true.
My body in Brooklyn, but my heart in I just get phone calls from Grenada more than Brooklyn. I always tuning in. I always want to know what's taking place home. My heart is in Grenada. And as I tell a lot of people, if I had an income in Grenada, I would have just visit America. Serious.
Yeah. A lot of us, you know.
Yeah, my heart is in Grenada. You know, you have some fake Grenadians. I'm not one of them. I love my country. Don't care what we go through. Don't care what we go through. I love my country. Let me run something quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we go into the 40.
Yeah.
The majority of guys who came out of jail, the Grenada 17, the majority, me and them had conversation on trying to understand what went wrong. Because I was wrong. I was in Tongue. I was on the foot. I lay down below a truck to survive. I was at Morris House when they free me. I know I swing the topic a little, but I just want the audience to know that. And
that's part of your history, man. That's part
reason
of your
with the majority of them from the Bonnet Code come right down to find out what went wrong, why that couldn't have saved, why that couldn't have go different, where all the hatred come from, what went wrong. And me and everybody reason. When I was younger, I had a lot of hate for them because what I thought would have been great, mash up. You understand? And as I get older, I start thinking different. And I telling you that to tell you. I want you to see that are real, and I'm not lying for your audience because I love your program. I always look at it. Look at that book right here. Look at that book right here as we speak. You see that book?
A recommendation you got from the show.
You see that book, eh? You see what marked there? Yeah? You see that book?
Yep.
The Grenada Revolution, what really happened.
Yeah.
I'm just showing your audience that. I have that right over my bed here. The Grenada Revolution, what really happened. You understand? And I reason with them because I love my country. And I know we're very small. That is not in our culture. That is not us.
That's not in our DNA.
Nah, man, that is not in our DNA. So I love, for those who don't know me, I'm not a fake Grenadian. If I go home 10 times on the month, every time I touch down on the airport, I feel good. Like if I was away for 20 years. I love Grenada. I love Grenada. I feel good when I'm home. I love my country.
Yeah.
Right. I just want your audience to know that.
Yeah, so let's talk about Specky 40. It's happening Sunday, the 3rd of August.
Sunday, the 3rd of August.
At Progress Park.
Progress Park. We're having a superstar from one of the islands because the contract don't sign yet. That's supposed to take place this week. We don't start to advertise him yet, but he's a man with a lot of hits, a lot of classics we grow up to. Right? Okay. For business-wise, I wouldn't call the name yet. By next week, we're going to start advertising him. And we have younger artists and older artists. One or two people message me, oh, why you have young artists? And why didn't put only? I said, if I put only old artists, they go say that old people show. Specky 40 is a celebration. Generation upon generation jump for me all my life. So this is a celebration. So I have music for young. I have music for old. So it's a celebration. The show gates open from 6 and the show starts 7 o'clock. Because remember, the next day is a working day. So we want the people to come out early. And I will be the first artist on stage. Once the action starts, I will be the first artist on stage. You will be greeted by live steel pan music, the St. Max All Stars. As you make that entrance, you're getting still. We cannot leave out steel pan. You're getting that nice steel pan music. And come out and experience a wonderful show. Right? Music for old and music for young. We have some of the greats, the Black Wizard, the Scholar. Ajamo is not there because Ajamo would not be in the island. You have the Squeezy, some of the veteran, and we have some of the younger guys. You know, and then you're getting the best of the Inspector. You're getting the I Feel the Pain, Stay Away from Drugs, songs I don't do in years. You understand? You're getting all them songs that will be appearing about 3 times. But I will be the first artist on stage. So don't come late. And when you come late, you come up to me after the show and say, I didn't hear my favorite song. I go through that all the time. Right? We want to start early because the next day is not a holiday. The next day is a working day. So if we could finish by 12:01 for the latest, at least you could go home and get some rest and go to work. Yeah? So it's from 7. And then tickets already out. Go to fed.com. Maxi Bar in Grenville, Bogoso Baga Shop. At St. George's, you could go to Chucky Bar, Grenadian Optical, just to name a few. I can't remember all the outlets, but you know, Victoria go have, St. David's go have. You know, and come out and let's have a nice time. Live band music by the Heat Wave. And we have more than one band. But you know, as when the art come out next week, the full art come out, people go get more information. But it's August 3rd, Sunday, August 3rd, and we're starting early, 7 sharp. Those open from 6 after 5, 6. You can start to get in. You can have pan music to keep you jumping, whining in the meantime until the real thing starts. And I will be the first artist on stage. So don't come 11 o'clock and expect to see me. Right? Come early so you can get all the classics.
That's good. And you mentioned Wizard. Somebody mentioned earlier about Original Inspector. You know, when you see me in the cold mountain, water planting, nutmeg and banana, remember that?
Yes, yes.
Do you have a connection with Original Inspector at all? Or
well, the last time I saw him is when Dexter Mitchell had the 50.
Right.
Yeah, in Grenada, and I think he's somewhere in Florida or Orlando, but we don't keep in touch like that. But when we meet, he get all that respect. I remember as a little boy listening to the radio every morning before I go to primary school. Remember Mike Noel?
Mike Noel, that's right.
Mike Noel, right? Mike Noel always playing that song. When you see me in the cold mountain, water planting, nutmeg and banana. Yeah, I also want to pay respect to Val Adams, who helped me along the way. The first time I came to Brooklyn, the Adams family showed me all that love. They opened doors for me. Never leave me on the street. And I also want to pay respect to Lady Cinti. That's the woman who discovered me, the mother of Lonnie Spark and Electrify. You know, I also want to pay respect to her. And all the people along the way. I don't like to call names because some people may not hear the name and they take it personal. But Grenada, you was good to Elimus Gilbert. As I said before, a lot of songs I escape with already. Sing and get through. I know if some other artists do get in because of the love people have for me. And as I said in one of my songs, I could sing Amazing Grace and make people shake their waist. I don't mean it no kind of how. All I was saying, I could take a dead song and make the party lively. And Not everybody born with that talent.
And not everyone is born with the talent that Specky has blessed us with. That you've blessed Grenada and the Caribbean with, and you have a treasure trove of music and a treasure trove of history. It's not only music, but of course your music transcends different periods of Grenadian history, and we have to appreciate that. So Specky, thank you for appearing on the Bub Report this week, and congratulations on 40 years, my brother.
And thank you for having me. I always look at your program. I like how you ask the question. You don't bias whether who.
I'm not biased.
You're not supposed to be on any side. You're supposed
to.
You're working for
middle of the road.
And you're working for the people. Not everybody go like you, but you have to ask the question. And certain question you go ask, that side may not like it, this side, but you have to ask the question because at the end of the day, it's Grenada. And to the foreigners who looking at the program now, if you don't book yet, come to Grenada for Carnival. We had the safest mass for the summer. We have the last mass for the summer. We have the best Groovy in the world. Marshall Montano come from it. Kes come from it. Calypso Rose come from it. Bungee Garland, everybody who experienced it come from it. 1 year Skinny Fabulous from St. Vincent came and experienced it. Every year he coming with a boatload. Right? We have the best Groovy in the world. So if you don't book yet, book for Grenada. August, I think Carnival is the 10th and 11th. If I'm wrong, Mr. Bob, you could correct it. Or 11th and 12th, somewhere around there. But if you don't book, come home and experience it. That's a country. If your vehicle break down, people go help you. They don't have to know you. You could sleep with your windows open and don't have to worry. You understand? Come to Grenada, the last carnival for the summer and the best carnival for the summer. Best Groovy, best Monday night mass. Thank you very much.
We have the best mass by far.
Yes, thank you very much. And keep up the good works, man.
Thank you, my brother. Congratulations. I'll see you. I'll see you in Grenada at your show. Viewers and listeners, that was, of course, Inspector Elimus Gilbert. Elimus Inspector Gilbert. He appeared on the program this week to talk about, we went down memory lane a bit. Again, Inspector is somebody that I grew up with. I don't think I can talk about my childhood without talking about, the background music of people like Inspector and so on. In a lot of our childhoods, really, for this audience here who is listening today. So, of course, we're happy that he was able to talk about, go down memory lane a little bit, talk about his career and the thinking behind a lot of his music and things like that. So we really, really enjoyed this conversation. Of course, we're continuing this Carnival conversation. The next segment will be dedicated to, again, Carnival and music and production, intellectual property and things like that. So we will take a quick break now and come back with our panel segment for the week. So please stand by as we go to break. We'll see you after the break.
Tell us, a commissioner of police, tell a politician, back off. You have no knowledge of the law. You have no knowledge of law enforcement. You cannot force my officers to do the wrong thing.
But that is somebody's son. That is somebody's child. That is part of a family. And I think that is the part that they are missing out.
Because E and F are apt to be used oppressively.
It's like because we don't see disabled people as sexual beings, which is ridiculous.
You mean they don't want to listen to your version of science? They have their own science. You have your science.
What we need to do is teach people to think and not what to think.
Today, it's too bad that everybody do what they want.
If I could forgive Bernard Ford, then I could forgive Bob Morris too. And today, on this day, I no more have anything in my heart for what he did.
The education system has to be very fluid and dynamic because we're living in very different and changing times.
Treating all your citizens equally, all your citizens fairly, recognizing each group, not discriminating against one or the other.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of your answer.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me here for much more than diplomatic passports. I don't mind that.
Don't go there. What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there. They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not too sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. Let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bub Report. We go there.
Should your loved ones pass on, they deserve to be treated with dignity. And at S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, we can provide you with that service. We can take you every step of the way during your sorrowful moments. When that need arises, call S.A. Johnson Funeral Home at 347-777-9797. That's 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home is a Caribbean family-owned funeral home here in Brooklyn, providing funeral services, but in a dignified way. From cremation to burial to the repatriation of your loved ones, you don't have to go through the hassle, as we provide exceptional service that allows you to mourn and heal peacefully. For more information, visit our website, www.sajohnsonfuneral.org. Send us an email at sajfuneral@aol.com or call 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, because you deserve to be treated with dignity.
And folks, welcome back to this week's edition of the Bub Report. We really enjoyed some of your comments on the last segment we did with Inspector. Of course, so much memories from Inspector. He really is a Grenadian treasure, and we really appreciate him. But for this segment, folks, what we want to do is to talk about music. And of course, as the countdown to Spice Mass kicks into high gear, this segment will hone in on the state of the music industry in Grenada through a producers and a soca artist lens. Now, for more than 2 decades, Grenadian producers, of course, I'm talking now of more contemporary Grenadian producers, not of the vintage style per se, they have developed a stellar regional reputation for creating some of the most epic beats, including the Jambalassi rhythm, that has spawned tracks which have since gone on to make international notoriety. Now, some of Grenada's well-known producers, Expert, Impulse, Vaughn, Proper Way, of course, the late Shem Bill the Vibes Felix, of blessed memory from St. David's, may you rest in peace. And 2 of our guests, Ian Jambalassi Thomas and Andrew Hitz Phillip. Of course, this is just a short list of the other amazing production talent originating from Grenada. And of course, in this segment, folks, what we will do is to tackle some of the big issues impacting the industry, among them issues of copyright and intellectual property. So I'm happy now to be joined by Andrew Hitz Phillip and Curtin Alma Boy Roberts. Of course, Alma Boy, you've been on the Bub Report before, no stranger, but Mr. Phillip is your first time on the program, so welcome, brother.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Curtin, welcome back, man.
Hello. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, are you guys able to hear me clearly?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Let me just remove these because I'm getting an echo here. Because he's traveling now and his connection is a bit poor. But big picture, folks, of course, you just heard that conversation I had with Inspector there. Let us talk about how, in your estimation, at least on the production side of things, how the music has evolved from Specky's heyday in the 80s to now.
Hitz, you want to take the floor first?
Well, I mean, with everything, there's evolution and there's change. And with the advent of technology, because prior to the computer, you had to go to a studio that had a mixing console, 8-track equipment, keyboards, drum machines, actual physical instruments. And it was a much bigger production process and was a much more expensive process. So the barrier to entry was much higher because if you didn't have that budget to afford studio time and afford the musicians and the producers, it was a lot more challenging to get into the industry. With the advent of technology and the invention of the computer and digital production, it quickly became easier and easier to get a computer, get software, and through digital instrumentation, create music and create a lot of music that we hear today. Something that I always look at is that technology didn't necessarily kill creativity, but it gave more opportunity and more equipment and more choices and options to be even more creative. And those who were able to embrace and exploit those technologies were able to transition from one era to the next, or come in this new era and become successful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I will just
Jump in, brother.
I will elaborate on that technology and that positive side of technology because we're in the era of now no excuses. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
No excuses. Social media, radio, the ground, communicating with people via email, different sorts of stuff to get the music out there. We in that era of no excuses, and it's really how bad do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
The competition is stiff, yes. There's a lot of music, there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of producers, there's a lot of, but there's still, you can't really teach talent. You can't teach drive. You can't teach a bunch of stuff still that, some people may hit and miss with, get lucky. Let's put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But hype is one thing, but talent is something else. I always say that. And technology allows the field to kind of narrow. Everybody's like, all right, we in this together and we on the same level and it's up to us to make that, to make that push. So
Mm-hmm. Now, there is this competing narrative with I guess more contemporary Grenadian music and more of the vintage style of music. There is this competing narrative that seems to suggest that in this generation, so while you do have a lot of the technology here, you really don't have the excuse. You have the luxury of the technology that enables you to produce really good quality stuff. But folks are saying that on the more creative side, it's a bit more watered down now. Because, and let me explain where I'm going with this. Right. So back in more of the vintage era, like the double entendre was a big thing, right? So, when Sparrow sang about saltfish, right? I mean, there's a double meaning there.
True.
But soca artists these days, when they sing about saltfish, it's just very raw and wet, and well, let me know. but do you think that the creativity in that sense has been watered down, even with the advent of these new technologies that we have?
Well, I can see for me, like, let's talk back in the days when, let's go back to Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Did gyrate in his waist.
Yeah.
A certain segment was like, wow, that's too much.
Yeah.
The 70s came around. James Brown, all these people. Oh, that's too much. Sparrow even this bunch with Saltfish. For some people was like, nah. It always, every generation outdoes outdo the other. In that aspect, right? And I'm not saying it's creative, but it's there's a certain level of water down, yes. But we're in that era right now where there is so much to look at, to scroll through. Our attention span is like zero now. And we want people to get to the point a little bit faster. As much as we don't want to admit it, we all here know if to look at a video that is 30 seconds as opposed to one that is 3 minutes giving you more information, we go with the 30 seconds soundbite. We all in that area know we don't want to admit it, but it's happening. And let me give that next point too, that there are DJs now, and even people just looking for music. There's a lot of music to go through. and people don't necessarily take the time now, even though there's the watered down version, there's good quality music out there. But nobody really is taking that time to go through the good quality music. We want it fast. We want it now. We not, it's sometimes the artist is trying to do. I sometimes want to write a song that's 4 5 minutes long because the song, I'm getting ideas. After 30, 45 seconds, people don't really want to give me a minute and that's it. So it's tough. It's not the easiest thing. There's a balance where we're trying to find, and it's all, yes, the artist is one, but the audience too have to demand, they have to demand the best from us.
A certain standard, of course. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
If I could interject a bit.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Art is always a reflection of society and where society is. And the art that resonates with the masses is also a reflection of what the masses, the values and what the masses appeal to at that point in time. So we find this transition happening, just like Curtin mentioned, and each generation always go through this thing where the music of the younger generations, when that transition happens and the change happens, they're always like, "What is this? This is too raw. This is too much. This is too explicit." And this is a tale as old as time. What I would say is that music in general, from when you go through every genre, you'll see that there is this journey it takes where it goes up to a peak, it may go down to a valley, and then it may go back up to a peak. We've seen it with soul music, we've seen it with R&B, we've seen it with calypso. Calypso was at one point in time one of the biggest genres in the world, and then it has since receded. We've seen it with reggae. It was once upon a time one of the biggest genres in the world. It has since receded. We've seen it with many, many, many genres, and we've even seen it in soca before. There was a point in time in the mid 2000s where people were, getting annoyed with soca. Is everything is one way and this, that, and the other, and da da da. And then you saw the music shift again, where people went back into chords and chord progressions and back to storytelling and back to melodies. And so we always see this journey happening where things change for a moment based on where society goes. Like Curtin mentioned, like Boy mentioned, society right now is in this place because of the advent of social media, where attention spans are shorter and shorter, and the development that you could have put into a song in previous generations, where people were used to listening to songs that are 4 minutes and 5 minutes long, and listening to albums, as a matter of fact. People would buy an album, buy a CD or a record, and play the entire album. We have seen, since streaming has come in, we've gone to a point where people just want to hear singles. So artists have now changed to, many artists are not really putting out albums like they used to. Even major artists are putting out singles. Instead of putting out one album project, they may put out 4 or 5 singles for a year and then put out an album later. But the landscape has changed, and that landscape has changed in reflection to the way society has changed and moved over the years.
Now let us get into intellectual property. Of course, Vaughn was recently selected as an intellectual property ambassador, which is a big deal. But one of the reasons why I'm bringing up this intellectual property conversation is because in this particular iteration of the music now, we are seeing these issues and challenges around artists and producers who are saying, well, this guy stole this rhythm from me, or this particular concept was mine. Of course, there was a whole beef with is it Trinidad Killer? Is the brother's name? Yeah. Trinidad Killer and another group of artists in Grenada. There was also, not in Grenada, in Trinidad. There was also, Vaughn had to come out recently as well to speak to that issue of whether or not he was part of producing something, and that created a whole thing. So let us talk about that. Those two anecdotes that I bring up here, are those just separate issues that occurred, or is that part of perhaps a developing trend that you guys are seeing in the industry? Curtin, I want to start with you on that question.
Well, first off, and this is the universe are aligned. Like ideas, a lot of ideas is not new, I can take the idea of love and write it about it 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
I can take the idea of horn and do the same thing, or cheating. I and a lot of us do align in especially backgrounds, similarities, being around the same people, being around the same. We may align. Like for instance, there's these two songs right now, just to go. One is called Bouquet and one is called Flowers by Short Tree,
Mhm.
and they both released at the same time, right?
Mhm.
Both had this. It's similar in vibe, similar in lyrics, similar. But it happens. There are many times that I write songs. I have songs sitting there now, and I hear an artist with an idea, and they come out with the song, and damn, I should have released my, because how much words are there to play on words like that? How much, I understand the part with melody and music and production, and that Trinidad Kida, what he did, I thought was, I didn't agree with what he did, right? It was he didn't reach out to the producer. He just did his own thing where he just jumped to writing on jumping on the rhythm. Fine, which a lot of us do. We create like, but then he went to put it up on streaming platform himself. He went to try to make money out of it himself, which is not it. There's rules to this, right? We all can do our own thing, but there are rules to follow it if somebody's intellectual rights, so his music, what he created, right? And you, it's simple, just it's to me it was simple to say, hey, I have a song on this rhythm, can you hear it, can you listen to it, it's your rhythm, and let's see where we can go from there. If they agree or they don't agree, that's on them, that's not on you. He took it upon himself to move forward and go ahead and put a song up for streaming and do all this stuff. And I can't agree with that as an artist or as a producer. I just can't.
Hits, and before I have a quick anecdote, and that's again, I'm a 90s baby. I grew up in the 90s. Although maybe that song, no, that was, maybe that came out in the early 2000s, but Marshall's Footsteps, right? And then Sheldon Douglas did a very similar song in Grenada. It was called Stamp Up. I don't know if, maybe Kurt might remember. I don't know how much it might remember that.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing back then, and I remember folks saying, "Oh, I'm Sheldon Douglas, Steve Marshall song," and it became a whole thing. Hits, as a producer, how do you? Is there a way to guard against that intellectual property, or ensuring that you're not really reinventing an original concept that somebody might have had, or in the music industry, how did the concept of originality in a producer's mind, what does that look like when you're coming up with beats and so on?
All right, so I'll go back to the previous question before I come back to the one you just broached.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So this conversation with intellectual property is nothing new. It's a tale as old as time. You've seen if you go back in history, like very recent history, you saw there was a case between the Marvin Gaye estate and Pharrell and the singer of Blurred Lines. You saw the case that Ed Sheeran went through with his song. Again, so this is something this is part of the business side of the music industry, and one of the reasons we see this quite often within the region is because a lot of people or participants of the industry do not pay attention to the business side of the industry as much as they need to. There are laws in place, there are procedures in place to protect your copyright, to register your copyright, to put you in a position where you can take legal action if someone infringes on your copyright or your intellectual property. And as creators, whether you're a songwriter, whether you're a producer, whether you're an artist, it is your responsibility to learn about the business side and to educate yourself about the business side and take the proper procedures and proper measures to make sure that your intellectual property is properly registered and properly so that you can exploit it to the best of your ability. And if anyone infringes on your copyrights, you can take the necessary legal actions thereafter. So that business side of the music is an important side that gets neglected often, and then we end up in these kinds of situations. So as a producer, I think I kind of answered both questions there. As a producer, the best way to protect yourself is to educate yourself on the business side of the music and take the necessary action. So register with a PRO, register your music. If you're not even registered with a PRO, there's a thing called a poor man's copyright, where if you've created music, and many producers do not even know this. When you create a song, the song is a 100%, right? Of that 100%, the music and composition of the music, right, is considered as 50%. And the lyric and melody is considered the other 50%, right? And many guys are not aware of this. Many artists are not aware of this, and they believe, okay, I wrote the song, this guy just make music. No, that music is considered composition. If you were to put it on paper, you can score it, and this is written music. This written music is the music that you hear, whether it's on brass, whether it's on pan, whether it's a bass section. This is written music. This is all part of writing a song, writing a composition. So being educated in all of these areas and learning as much as possible, or having the people around you who have this knowledge to help guide you, is the best way to put your ducks in a row and be prepared for any kinds of backlash that may come, or any kind of infringement that could possibly come your way.
How much work do you do in going back into the archives to see what was produced before, for example, to ensure that again maybe you're not just reinventing something that was there before? Is that something that producers do?
Everything is a reinvention. There's only so many chords. There's only so many notes. And again, the Ed Sheeran case, there's an anecdote from the Ed Sheeran case where he took the same chords that they were trying to sue him over and sang, I believe, was 25 or more songs on that same chord progression. Because you can't copyright a chord progression. What you can copyright is the contents of a song. Now, if you have taken a melody note for note, syncopation for syncopation from someone else's song, and you sing it with the same words, then that is direct infringement on copyright. But when you talk about the chord progressions and you talk about the drums or the feel of a song, you can't necessarily copyright that. If you have definitely taken the same melodies and the same chords and everything of someone else's song and recreated that, if you've deliberately recreated someone's intellectual property, no, you have gone into shark-infested waters. But if it's a case where you did not deliberately do that, and you out of creativity created something that has a similar feel and a similar sound to something else, that has happened millions of times over, because there's only so many chords, there's only so many notes in the scale. And with every generation, you can go and look back and say, oh, this song has the same chord progressions as that song. This song has the same chord progressions as of this song. You only really get into hot water when you take the exact same idea. You deliberately take the exact same idea. Like if I come and I sing a soca song, when the night has come and the land is dark, I'm singing someone else's song. So I can't fight that if they take legal action against me. But if you so happen to use the chord progression that is similar, but you created everything else different, then there is no fighting that, because you cannot. Two things you can't really copyright. You can't copyright chord progressions because there's only so many chords, and you can't copyright drums, right? But what you can copyright is melody, lyric,
And
composition.
He's explaining that there, and that's a part of the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like just a simple how many notes are on the keyboard, right? If you just putting it in their head, there's no more than that, right? How much can you really do with that? Like just a simple breakdown of it, So some songs will definitely have a similar sound without you even knowing that it came from there, or it came from over here, and people will be like, "Oh, I finally take that song from here, the basic stuff." But you here creating on your own, vibing, and you have no idea. You're not using anybody else's stuff, but there is a possibility it will sound like something out there. There is that possibility.
Yeah. And if you do find that you created something that sounds too similar to something else, it is your responsibility to rewrite and make that difference.
Yeah. Now let us talk about. I think Grenada has developed its own reputation as being a producer's hub, if you will. I mean, the late Blacks, rest in peace. He spoke about the work that he did with the brother from Carriacou there. His name is escaping me now. Expert production. There you go. Expert production, right? And so many other regional artists who are now regional artists, who are coming to Grenada to have a lot of their music produced. Alma Boy, I want to begin with you on that question, and I'll get to you. What do you think has contributed to that over the years? Because I think that's a renaissance that a lot of people are really not honing in on. That is, I think it's a production renaissance in my view. I could be wrong, but Alma Boy, let's start with you.
One part for me, right?
Yeah.
Jab is authentic. Like you in Grenada, it's not a normal. Let's just go jump and wave.
Yeah.
We want stories. We want stories from the block, the talk, the chat. We don't just do it. We don't want to just do it like the normal, Or back in the days with the tree. No disrespect for them, but it was more the party kind of soca. Everything was for but a party. Grenadians love telling a story. It has always been that way. The jab is authentic. People come to Grenada and like, damn, this is free. This is just us being ourselves. And I think it resonates in the music as well, right? And the same song with Blacks wasn't just expert on the production. Was Von wrote it. Von wrote it as well. So it's that Grenadian realness, that us being in. We always listen to me. You can't have a conversation with me, and I ain't listening to see if I can go and put it in a song. Anything you say, right? One of the best thing for me is going by a rum shop and with some older gentleman that's a little bit high and drunk and talking. You get so much stories. You get, for artists in Grenada, we always listening. We want to hear that next. We want to say that next. We want to take some old saying. One of my new songs, don't be a dodoy, don't be a baby. Like we want to use those words. We want to always be creative. And I think other islands are getting in tune with that. And we are winning when it comes to that side of it. That's my take on that.
Not something new. I guess we're media now, and but this is nothing new. I went to Trinidad in 2007, and I've had hits with Blacks and the All Stars from Tanti way back in 2011. Come to Maddis Crew. I've worked with them for years. I had hits with Iowa George, Marshall Montano, Patrice Roberts, Bungie Garlin, a long list. And this is before the era of social media. Not just myself, Mr. Roots, another Grenadian-born producer, had many hits that crossed the borders. And this goes even back to when Salpri took over with Old Woman We Taking Home. That raw energy that came from Grenada and our music, our authenticity, has been something that many artists come and study and then take back home after the season. So for many years, you'd hear stories of people saying, oh, that song sounds like a song from Grenada from last year. And many times those guys were in Grenada last year and they say, hey, that idea nice, I'll write something like that. And they go back to Trinidad, which is a much bigger market, and they did something off of that idea and took it to a different level. So this is nothing new. This is something that has been going on for ages, and it just continues now, and it's louder now in this era of social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure is louder now in the era of social media, and I think a lot of people are authentically discovering that unique Grenadian rhythm, that unique Grenadian sound on places like TikTok, where a lot of the young people live. I met a young lady in Grenada last year, and she said, I actually discovered Jab Jab on TikTok. And I'm like, okay, that's really cool.
Yep.
But we have another comment here. Somebody saying that it is in my humble opinion that we cannot have private individuals or entities attempting to own or monopolize certain aspects of the music and the Grenadian culture, whether it's Jab or others, or try to prescribe what is acceptable or not about it. Let's get your thoughts on that. Can we, for example, patent? Can a producer patent a particular rhythm that might be uniquely Grenadian overall?
Let the producer talk. Let the
Good.
producer talk about that. Let the real
Producer,
producer
go
talk.
ahead, go ahead.
So in the choice of the words, the choice of words used, the patent, there are aspects of culture that can potentially be patented. Like for example, the jab jab. There are aspects of the jab jab experience that may be able to be patented as authentically Grenadian. I'll give a reference to like steel pan in Trinidad, an instrument that was the most recent instrument created, and there was a battle because they didn't patent it initially, and someone else did, and then they took legal action that went through a whole process. So there are aspects, and this is something that we would have to talk to an entertainment lawyer about to figure out what aspects can be patented. But as I said before, you can't copyright rhythms, you can't copyright chords, but you can copyright melodies and lyrics, etc. And you can copyright compositions. So what you made with that rhythm and those chords, you can copyright that. That is copyrightable. So what I would say though, just like for example, when you go to different parts of the world, you may go to, let's say, in Australia and hear a band that's playing, a cover of a country and western song, and you realize immediately that it sounds okay. I recognize the song, but it doesn't sound, as we say, authentic. That is something I feel that is more of a being or a culture or the core of who our people are. And I don't think many have tried to recreate the jab jab beat and the jab jab rhythm, but what you get is an interpolation. There's nothing like that authentic energy that comes from Grenada, that comes from the ground, from the roots and the core. And especially now where a lot of other carnivals have gone into more of a all-inclusive, upper class, upper crust kind of feeling, it's much more difficult for them to try to steal or recreate that jab jab energy, because our jab jab energy comes from the ground, comes from the people, comes from freedom. It doesn't come from a $200 or $300 all-inclusive event. It comes from the guys by the road beating the drum, knocking the bottle and chanting. And that raw energy is something that you only really find here in Grenada. And each island has their authentic energy, their authentic essence that comes out in their music. So I don't think we have to worry about it being stolen, because again, this is a tale as old as time. Remember Marshall and, I think, was it Marshall and the Ecstatic Band at the time? They had a song on Jambalasi, but it didn't feel the same as when it's done in Grenada.
Wifey,
I'm a boy. Chime in. Yes.
Quickly, wifey gave me her recipe to making her world famous pie. She gave me every step of the way, and it still can't taste like us when I make it. It just, she just have it. You just have it. When you have it, you have it. Jab is like that. We hear all the different people try to do it. Sounds good, but it's still not as that real jab song. It's still missing something. You understand? So we don't have it even with Bouillon now. You see a set of producers all over the place trying to do, and it's something when the Dominicans do it, it's just song like them. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not saying everybody can hit it every now and then and get it all the way, but these are things I want spread to the world. I don't want us hold it back out of saying it's ours. It's ours. We know it's ours. You understand? But we need to get to, for us even to get to the parts where we want to get to our dreams. We need the world to be a part of it. We need to stop trying to gatekeep every single aspect of it in this small world now of social media. Let me put it like that. TikTok, you understand, and all these different things. Let's spread the word. Let's spread the word. We just know that where the real thing come from. Let's do better on the history. Let's do even with our own kids, teaching our own kids where this came from, why we
Let's do better on the education.
Education. Yes.
Yes.
But
Not
let's
just
take the word.
education, but like as Alma just mentioned, documenting the history so we don't lose the authentic roots of
Correct.
where all of these different things came from. Because we've already lost patois in Grenada, but we don't need to lose the wild Indian. We don't need to lose the Veko. We don't need to lose,
Jab.
the short knee, the maypole. Jab's still in a place where
Yeah.
it's very strong, but there's some other aspects of culture that we find are getting more niched and smaller into certain communities, sorry, and some of the elders who have the knowledge about where these things came from. Why do we engage in these masks? Even the jab. Why do we play jab? What was the root? What was the initiating factor for this celebration? We need to do better in terms of recording
Well,
history and making it accessible.
yeah, I agree that we need to do, but I'm sorry to say, and this is not a slight on what you just said there at all, but I have been calling for that on this program for years. Why is there not a cultural studies curriculum in our schools? A structured cultural studies curriculum that in Form 1, you have your modules on jab, you have your modules on wild Indian, you have your modules on Veko, and then as you progress, you build into the course wire bending, you build into the course short knee costuming, you build into the course these are things that are supposed to be built into the curriculum so that it's systematically passed on, so that is not some piecemeal grandmother, and this is no disrespect to grandma or grandpa who is passing on that oral tradition, because that oral tradition is also powerful. Let's not discount that. But that oral tradition must be built into a system that allows us to pass that on, so that when some Grenadian kid goes to Russia, right, he can be properly informed about how to promote Grenadian culture to Russians without being watered down by what some random person told him. Sorry, I just
let
had
me
to
just
say that.
inject real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
One of my favorite pages on social media on Instagram is Know Your Caribbean.
Yes.
Right? And I think she does it so well with giving us history and giving us, and I would love for anybody here listening right now, even in song bites, we can educate right now.
Yes.
Even in song bites with 30 seconds, 1 minute every day. If I know your Grenada, if I don't have the time for that page, honestly, I wish a historian can create that page. Know your Grenada, culture, divide it into a couple of things. You understand? Every like about 10 things for the day. You just post like, and not long, because again, people attention span. We have to meet people right now where they are.
You have to meet people where they are. I agree with that. Yes.
And I would like to advocate for you to continue this conversation, Bob, and direct it to the people in the Cultural Foundation, the Ministry of Culture, the entities, the public service entities that are mandated with the the responsibility to take care of culture, or guide and do the work in that regard. So we need, especially the Cultural Foundation, Ministry of Culture, Spice Mass Corporation. These are conversations that should be had. So outside of the carnival season, these things can be done. And another one of those things that we find happening a lot in Grenada is that we find these artists and creators who have paved the way, past transitioning very quietly, like when Tangla passed away.
Tangler, African Teller,
African Teller, and a lot of youths are not fully aware of who Tangler and African Teller were and how they contributed to the art form. And this is all things that we can keep losing if we don't, actively do the work to educate and document this history and have it available to educate generations to come and to come and to come.
Yeah, and then some go ahead, Curtin. Go ahead.
Well, one part something when I just started, right? I remember, what you don't know, right? But one other thing that hurt me the most, and I'm not gonna put a shadow or any cloud on this, right? But being in competition stopped a lot of people from giving me information. And it was sad that the collaboration among artists or even groups, because now I want my artist to go here and to reach that. So I am not going to give him too much. Even from the ones past, present, it was one of the things that quickly I had to realize, hey, I'm on my own. And it's a tough place to be when you're just starting, especially you're feeling that energy, that vibe, but the lack of knowledge can kill you. Like basically flatten you real quick in this game.
Yeah.
And even for myself, like I always try as much as possible. Any artist come to me, or if I see something, I say, "Hey, I think you can do this way. This you can go to such and such to provide some." I don't know it. I don't know this information, but here's somebody who knows. I'm trying to do more of that, especially to the young and upcoming artists, even who seasoned. We still don't know a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I want to bring in his because he has formed an association right now. I want him to even share and give some light on that, things like that. Because I'm telling you that you see that competition aspect of it, especially in a small island.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. It's great for the market. It's great for it's fun and exciting, but it also has its setbacks.
Its dark side. Yes,
Yeah.
it has its dark side. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm part of the newly formed Association of Musicians, Producers, and Performers (AMP). Formed recently, headed by Eugene Gittins, as mandated by the Office of Creative Affairs. And the goal with that association is to start not just registering all musicians, all songwriters, all artists on island, but to start creating enough, building enough of a body so that we can start making the change that we would like to see in the industry. One of the biggest issues we have quietly in Grenada, besides artists being educated on the business side of music, is that copyrights are not collected on island. There's a law on the books for copyrights, but there are aspects that are not properly set so that it's not being enforced. So whereas in another country, for example, Trinidad, where the copyrights are enforced and songwriters and artists who have created popular songs for that season and would hear the music played all over the island in Trinidad or region, etc., they can now be signed to a performing rights organization like COT in Trinidad and Tobago. They can now see a royalty from the performance of their music, whether it's in live performances or on radio or in a restaurant, hotel, etc., etc., etc. They can see royalties and they can see an income and now be able to reinvest. So even if you have not been able to perform in many different places, that passive income that comes from your intellectual property being played in public settings has helped many artists to build a career. Now, that being said, we are still in 2025. Royalties are not collected in Grenada for various reasons, and these are the things that we have noticed, and we would like to start working on. But we've trying to get the numbers so we can work on things like that. Work on workshops where we can teach or get people to learn about vocal training, how to care for your instruments, how to songwriting training, how to structure songs, how to compose. Music theory, learning about the actual theory of music and how your chord to structure your chords, how to use your different scales, and how to understand the thing that you are getting into. Our trainings on every aspect that we can possibly find: the business side of music, law, contracts, how to construct a writer's agreement, for example, where so that everyone who has written on a song can put on a sheet of paper, okay, we agree to split the publishing and copyright of this song in XYZ manner. Writer 1 gets this, writer 2 gets that, writer 3 gets this, and put these things in writing so that we don't have these situations like we just mentioned where people are just doing things willy-nilly and then jumping on social media and say, oh, this person stole this and did that, or oh, this person made it to Soca Monarch and they didn't want to give me a cent from a beat and this, that, and the other. The business side of things, we're trying to put the infrastructure in place to help educate and change the landscape that we're in now presently.
And that is such important work, especially on the question of you mentioned what they do in Trinidad. Do we have you been having conversations with whether it's Office of Creative Affairs, Cultural Foundation, on how we can get to that place that Trinidad is in respect of how they handle their copyright and intellectual property issues?
All right, so there is a representative of Echo on the ground here in Grenada, newly appointed, and we've already had a meeting with her and an entertainment lawyer, and so we're aware of what's of what needs to be done. It's just that it's going to be it's a lot of work, and we're all doing this voluntarily. So we're
Mhm.
trying our best to get the numbers, because it's much easier to, from an association perspective, to go to government saying, okay, here we represent 200 people, we represent 500 people, and this is something that affects this orange economy in this way. And if we can get these acts to be revisited and updated, so that these copyrights can be collected and creators can see more income from their intellectual property, which would then in turn lead them to be able to invest more in their intellectual property, and then we start see things growing. And so we're trying to now build that body, so that we can have the leverage to have these conversations and effect the change that we need. Because at the end of the day, it's all great and so to have a popular song that playing here, there, and everywhere, and yeah, boy, you have a big tune this year and you're feeling good about yourself. But then at the end of the season, you don't have anything much to show for it.
Alma boy, we lost you there for a second. You might be having some connectivity issues. But of course, let us round up this conversation by talking about this year's season. Of course, unfortunately, we lost Bill the Vibes from St. David's there, a young producer who incidentally he actually produced a song, I believe, for Boise just before he passed. So can you speak to his contribution to the industry?
Man, Shem, Bill the Vibes, his contribution has been, not, or should I say, exceptional. He is in part, responsible to the huge, meteoric rise of Lil Natty and Thunder and many other artists. He's instrumental in Lil Kerry's rise as well. That St. David's movement, where we saw St. David's artists like Muddy, Lil Kerry, Lil Natty and Thunder, and several others, just jumping out in a huge way, as we would say, musically. He was at the core of that, and he has had some collaborations, like for example, when Lil Natty and Thunder did that remix with Marshall Montano, of their hit song, that all of these things came out of that brain collaboration between him and those guys and that entire St. David's team. And it's nothing to, how should I say, to belittle. It's nothing to take lightly, because the impact of those collaborations have had, guys like Lil Natty and Thunder touring for many years now. It took them from Grenadian artists or popular artists in Grenada to global artists. And they did that without necessarily initially going and work with foreign producers. They all worked together in St. David's as this unit and created that magic, created these classic songs that are now, known worldwide. And these are things that, we need to give respect to and give that kudos to and give the flowers for. And I really wished that, in many cases, he was able to get more flowers while he was here, as opposed to now we have to be, in remembering him, talking about all the great things he did. As Curtin mentioned, as Alma Boy mentioned before, that whole competition culture tends to put things in a place where, it's always about, okay, who had a popular thing now and who had a popular thing now. And we rarely look back to see, this person had a great run. Like that for this 4 or 5 years, they created amazing music that affected, that people remember and has touched people in so many countries and this, that, and the other. And we don't necessarily celebrate each other as we should while we're here. Like, Short Pre say, give me a bouquet now while I can smell them, And I believe that a balance would be great if we could start striking that balance between, yes, we have the competitions where we want to crown a monarch or so, but we also acknowledge the contributions of people while they're here, like the contributions of the Specky, the Turkey, the Japs, etc., the Ajamo, as much as they do get flowers, just making sure that we really and truly, the Black Wizards, really and truly, give them that respect and that just due and say, yes, we've seen what you have done to push the culture forward. And this next generation is taking it to our next step. But we acknowledge you, we respect you, we thank you, we're grateful for what you've done. And I love the fact that the association in St. David's has now renamed the St. David's
The
Soca
St. David
Monarchs to
Soca
Build the
Monarch, the
Vibes.
Build the Vibes, yeah.
Yep, I
Mhm.
love that. But only wished, some stuff like that could have been done while he was still here, and he could have, felt that love and adoration.
Yeah, yeah. I would put out there that maybe we need, in addition to the competition, maybe we need some kind of Grenada Music Awards. I don't know if we have that.
We're
Do we
working
have
on
a
that.
Grenada Music Awards? I think we really need to have that. I think
Yeah,
we
that's
are at
one
the
of the.
stage now with the quality. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry. That's one of the things on the list. Eugene Gittins has been championing that notion of working on that Grenada Music Awards from the time we started the music association. So we're working towards that, and as we get the numbers up and we put the infrastructure in place, that's one of the things that we want to bring back on stream. I'd like to shout out Boss FM for they did an awards for several years prior, coming up to the pandemic. I don't know if they did it after. But I know coming up to the pandemic, they had an awards going every year where they gave out, awards to like the best songs, the best collaborations, the best, producers, etc. So shouts to them. But that is something that we are looking at as AMP.
Yeah.
Very well. Alma, go ahead. We
What I
lost
want
you
to
there
say,
for a second. Go ahead. Yeah.
more and stronger collaborations is needed, right? Whereas between the veterans and the young, and there is always this, especially in music and art, ego. Ego is a big thing that
Yeah.
tends to trample certain progress, and we need more and better and stronger collaborations. Like there's some people who they go to the grave with what they have, right? They don't want to give up certain powers. I don't want to get too raw with it right now. I could get raw,
But it's
but
true. Get raw,
yeah,
man. Get raw. You can get raw
That
on this
even
platform.
certain aspects in culture that they feel they know everything, and I'm not discounting what they know, but they don't want to collaborate. They don't know how to collaborate that part
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
say, hey,
Yeah.
we in this era now. Let him kind of guide me a little bit with what I know, and we need more of that. Not taking away anything from anyone who's been in it for years and know what they're talking about. But we just in a different era that we need to feed that younger audience. And your way may not be the way. You know what I mean? So we need more, and we need stronger collaborations and more willing collaborations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Gentlemen, we can go on and on and on. I
Yes,
really
yes.
enjoyed this conversation, but we need to continue to have those conversations.
We do.
But not only for the point of having those conversations, but for seeing whatever material and realistic deliverables can result from that. Like you just referenced here, the association, the music awards, this whole idea of having a proper curriculum in place to ensure that our culture is properly documented. And things like that. So I want to thank both of you for appearing on the program, and I want to offer you. I will start with you, Hits. It's so refreshing to hear you. You came in highly recommended. So I'm really glad that you took the time to come on our humble platform today to speak with us. So I'll go over to you, sir, for some closing comments.
All right, thanks you very much, man. Thank you for having me. So, really quickly, I am in the Groovy and Soca semifinals, which will be next week, right? So, I just want to plug that one first.
Yes, shameless plug. Go ahead.
Shameless plug. The calypso will be judging this week with the Soca Bards in this Saturday in Deluxe Cinema in Grenada.
Kaiso Bards.
8 p.m.
Kaiso Bards.
I say Soca. I'm mixing up.
Kaiso
Bards.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the correction.
No, that's
right.
all right.
Now, getting back to Hits directly. You can find me at Andrew Hits Phillip. That's AndrewHitzPhillip on social media platforms. If you have any inquiries for me, you can email me at andrewhitzphillip@gmail.com. That's AndrewHitzPhillip@gmail.com. And you can find all my music. You just search for Hits on your preferred streaming platform, whether it's Apple Music, preferably Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, wherever you listen to music. Just look for HITZ. And if you have a favorite name of song, you search for that. But if you just search for HITZ, you will definitely find Hits as the artist, and you can go through the entire catalog.
Great. Very well.
All right.
Alma boy, yes.
First, I wanna give you some flowers, sir, Mr. Bob, for doing what you're doing.
Yes.
You deserve it. each and every petal. You deserve it. You're doing the thing. I also want to give Inspector some flowers and imagine 40 years in anything,
Yeah.
especially music. We have to give him the loudest round of applause. We have to show up for him in this 40. All the thing that people saying who's on the cast and all the arguments, we need to get away from these little things. Show up for somebody who has given us himself 40 years.
Yeah.
Amen.
Strong. Let's give him that, please. And yes, so you can follow me, Alma Boy, at Alma Boy Music on Instagram, ALMABOYMUSIC on Instagram, Curtin Alma Boy Roberts on Facebook, Alma Boy Music again on TikTok. And please, my stock, I'm cheap right now. You can afford me for the shows. You know what I mean? I'm cheap, but the stock is rising. Hi, the boy. Yeah, the stock is rising. It's rising. Hire me right now while they can get my little affordable. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here. I'm always ready to perform and give you all a show. My boy say, I thank you, Hits, too, for all the knowledge that you've given me. I give everybody the flaws as much as I can. Thank you to every your listeners, everybody who support me. Thank you, Bob, for having me on. Big up your whole self. Blessings.
Yes, absolutely, gentlemen. Blessings to you all, and I'll be seeing you in Grenada. I am a carnival kid, so I have a wire waist too.
We know.
Well, I don't think a lot of my audience know that. But for those no, people are actually surprised.
The Bobby Put needs to be on the road.
That's right. People are shocked when they see me playing mass in Grenada. They say, "You boy, you don't be asking all these tough questions." Yeah, man. Yeah, I like my mass. I like my mass. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for appearing on the Bobby Report this week. Viewers and listeners, that was Curtin Alma Boy Roberts and Andrew Hitz Phillip. As part of this musical Sunday conversation we had today, we started off with Inspector in the first segment, really giving him his flowers here on his 40th year. This is such an amazing accomplishment. 40 years in the business of music and 40 years of entertaining Grenadian audiences, both at home and abroad. And of course, that concert will be happening, that 40th concert will be happening at the Progress Park in St. Andrew. That's happening on Specky 40 on Sunday, August 3rd, and it starts at 7 p.m. sharp. Don't be late for that. And of course, we just had a conversation here on the state of the music industry in Grenada that really goes beyond the carnival season. Everybody thinks about music and couches it really in, as Curtin and Hitz just said, around the competition and all of that. But the Grenadian music industry extends far beyond that. When we think, that there are buzzwords about creative economy, the Grenadian music industry is the je ne sais quoi, if you will, of the creative economy. And that's something that we really try to hone in on. And we will be looking at other trends in the music industry as well. And of course, to our valued audience on Facebook or YouTube, of course, the folks over on YouTube, please just make sure that you like and subscribe to today's program as well. And we want to thank all of you for your participation today. Ronnie Slinger is saying that today was a different one, but he enjoyed. I'm glad. Tessa is saying, I really enjoyed today's program. Yes, folks, sometimes it's not all about the heavy stuff. We really have to try and diversify the types of programming we have here. Is something that we try to be intentional about. But before we leave, we want to hear from you. Where are you watching the Bub Report from this week? I know I met a lot of you in New York last evening. So again, thank you again for those of you who gave me compliments on the work that we do here on the program. Of course, it was under sad circumstances that I met many of you, but of course, paying tribute to Morgan could not go unnoticed for me, and I had to make my way to Brooklyn, New York for that. So again, and of course, Lydia James, of course, Lydia, let me shout you out. You, of course, you were a calypso judge back in the day. You were a calypso judge. You know, you mentored many calypso judges in Grenada. I don't think a lot of people, maybe of the younger generation, may not know this, but I remember you being a judge even in some contentious times during Grenadian calypso history when they accused you and other judges of, shall we say, thieving. But your contribution to the culture is something that must also be appreciated. So again, we have Four Roads. We have Leonard checking in from Four Roads. It's good to hear from you. Good to see you watching. Angie is in Grenada watching the program from Grenada. We have Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer, it was good meeting you again. You're in Brooklyn. Then Richard is in the US. Lydia is in Canada. We have Victor Palmer, who is joining us from Winnipeg, Canada. I hope the weather is nice at this time of year. Brother Palmer over there in Winnipeg. We have Karen Williams from Fort Worth, Texas. I hope, Karen, you are not in any way affected by the flood. And of course, sympathies to those who lost their lives so tragically there. Who else we have here? Who else do we have here? We have Joan Martin from Grenada. We have Patricia Mitchell from Long Island. You know, so folks, thank you all for continuing to support the work that we do here on the Bub Report, and we will see you next week for another installment of the program. Again, as always, your humble host, Dr. Bub. Thank you all for watching the program, and we'll see you next week again for another live installment of the Bub Report. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Don't go there.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of your answer.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me here for much more than diplomatic passports. I don't mind that.
Don't go there.
What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there.
They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not too sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. But let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bub Report. We go there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for checking out the Bub Report's social media pages. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch our weekly live show, follow our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch repeat episodes on Wednesdays at 4 and 5 p.m. respectively on CRFM Radio and GBN TV in Grenada. We are also viewed on Sundays at 8 p.m. on WPG 10 throughout the Caribbean. Thanks for watching.